Hi, this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Today I'm going to go work on a reel that is almost 90 years old. This reel was made by Shakespeare and Kalamazoo, Michigan. And Shakespeare made this reel in 1935. This reel is the Shakespeare Jupiter. It says free spool reel, and it's number 2213, and it has a nickel silver plating to it. That's about all you need to know back in the day. This reel is a beautiful example of reels from that era. It does not have a star adjuster on it. This is a direct drive reel, which means it's going to go forward to drive the spool, and to fight the fish, you backpedal the reel. In free spool, it does allow the reel spool to spin without the gear being engaged, so you don't get the knuckle buster effect on casting. Beautiful reel all around. We're going to take this apart. We'll kind of do some old reel archaeology, if you will. We'll take a look at how these reels were made back in the day. Take a look at the mechanism that's controlling that free spool. We'll check out the dirt and debris in there. As I mentioned, it kind of is running nice. Most of the time you'll get an old reel like this, and it'll be all kinds of noisy and cranky and slow. This one's actually in pretty good condition. So we'll go explore this together. And if you like that kind of adventure, then I would encourage you to subscribe to my channel. Today I'm working on a 90-year-old reel. Tomorrow it may be a current line model reel from a major manufacturer, or maybe one that you find on Amazon. I'm never quite sure. A lot of times the reels that you'll see in my shop are the ones that folks send in for service and repair. So that always keeps me guessing. And then every now and then I have a ready supply of reels that I'd like to give a second chance to, that I haven't had the opportunity. So, we keep those set aside in case time permits, or in this case, if I feel like doing an interesting video on an old reel. There's two screws. That's the best that I can determine is holding this side case on. Let's see if it comes off. It does. And underneath, a rather simple direct drive mechanism. As we mentioned, the reel is just that. And, let's take a look at what's on this side of the reel. We have a pinion gear, we have a spool, and we have a pretty basic assembly with a nut cap on the back that would be a bearing adjuster. I'm not sure if these are bearings or bushings in this reel. They look like bushings. That would be typical of what was used at the time. But let's clean up what we can of the debris. Now, there's always a discussion, some folks call it an argument, about whether you want to clean up the patina on a reel and how much of that you really want to do. I'm going to leave that to you if you're the owner of the reel. I don't like to see the green on there, but then again, this is kind of a patina, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to just use a little bit of penetrating oil. We'll see what dissolves out of that, and I think we'll probably leave the rest. I'm not going to get aggressive with any abrasives or that with this reel. And just put a little dab of grease onto the spool shaft. We're just going to reinsert that. You can see that this reel, even at this stage 90 years ago, had a click mechanism, a bait alarm to let you know. And what we can do here is we can inspect that pinion gear. If you find that there's some dirt and debris in there, and in the test this actually worked very nicely, so I'm not going to worry you terribly. But if you find there's something in there, we're going to take a hard bristle brush. You can use a toothbrush. This is a dollar store brush. Now just clean out the teeth and the valleys of those teeth. Inspect the gears, make sure that they are nice and clean and not broken. If they're broken, you're in trouble, because you're not going to find parts for a 90-year-old reel anywhere. And then a little bit onto here. All right, that's the direct drive and assembly of this reel. And let's take a look at what's going on here. This is your free spool, so let's see how the free spool operates. You have a cam. What I'm thinking is it's going to pull this whole thing off the assembly. And that's exactly what it does. It backs it off. Watch the gear. See how it moves in and out. See how it moves in and out? Very cool. All right. I'm not going to mess around too much with this. I wanted to explore it. There's a little bit of dirt and old grease in here. So what I'm going to take a moment to do is clean that up. What I really wanted to do was learn just what we're doing here. It's learning. Now, if this main gear was full of old dried grease and dirt, you could certainly take this assembly off. You would remove this. And there is a clip here. Now, why don't we do this? Well, let's continue to explore just to show you rather than to tell you how it may or may not work. I'm going to remove the handle first. That'll free up the main gear. Let's see if we can get this. This is a set screw here. It does have a little hold on the back. I'm hoping that we can get this off. I need to find the right screwdriver that's going to match this blade. Yeah, I think we're going to be able to do this. Okay, cool. Well, we'll go further then. I'm going to take that off. That's a good place to tell you to take pictures as you're doing this kind of thing because, well, you may not find the schematic for it. This one you do not need to disturb. The lever with the cam, it appears that this assembly is over the top of that. So let's see if we can get this one out. And you do want to notice on these which screws go where, because this one's going to have a shoulder on it, so does the other one. And now we should be able to lift everything or push everything out. Okay, there you go. All right, well, didn't hurt. We took it off. There wasn't much grease under there, but we can certainly take care of the grease that had accumulated under there. We can pull our main gear off of the shaft, and, you know, to our benefit, there's a little bit of dirt under there, so let's get that out of the way. Something that's accumulated over time, whether it's the full 90 years it's been sitting there or less. And then we'll do the same thing. You're going to notice on this one, it's a molded piece. There is no internal shaft on this. This is the direct drive. There are no drag washers associated with this reel. So let's pull this through. Check the teeth just like we did on the other one. Let's get some new grease on there. I'm using fishing reel grease. I'm using Penn Precision reel grease here. I guess that's appropriate. 90 years later, the company that owns Penn also owns Shakespeare, so I guess it's appropriate to do that. But really, my concern about greases are that you use fishing reel grease. It really don't matter to me which brand you're using, but use a fishing reel grease and a fishing reel oil. Okay, a little bit of grease into the terminal on that side. Let's see if we can't line all of this up again. And we just kind of reverse the process. We took out the one, we'll put that back in. Make sure you use a screwdriver whose tip matches the slot in the screw itself. Okay, lost my train of thought for a moment there. This is our little tip here. This has got an indented shoulder in it that's going to allow this to pivot. I think we could probably do most of this by hand. I imagine that they had a special tool that split that, kind of like the Mitchell tool, where you have that handle nut screw on the bail. It's kind of got a forked look to it. I think we got this one. Let's just tighten this down, see if it's holding. Yep, we got that. Now let's just check, make sure it's moving in and out. You can see it's moving in and out again. I'm going to put a drop of oil. We did not take this cam off. Just a drop of oil behind it. It's moving fine. And then we can reassemble that after we put the handle back on. Handle goes on. Handle screw goes back on. Simplicity in design. I am a big, big fan of simple design. Got a couple of reels that I just treasure because they are just so simple. It's like, why didn't I think of that? Of course, Those reels were well before my time, and I'm not a reel designer, but I do appreciate the nice design. Listen to that nice snap. You talk about how precise the engineering was on these. A lot of folks think, oh, it's 90 years old, it can't be any good. Well, newsflash, these are very good. This one can be lined up and go fishing tomorrow. Now, of course, modern convenient reels are going to have drag washers, they're going to have ball bearings, they're going to have all kinds of things, but you know what? Fish don't know what's on the other end of the line, and you can drag a fish in with this just like you could drag a fish in with a 2-speed lever drag 50 wide reel, and you won't wear out the drags in this one anyway. Okay, looks like that WD-40 dissolved most of the greening that's on here. I'm going to leave it just like that. Again, I'm kind of a fan of letting the reel talk itself. Let's take a look at how we did. We're in free spool. I just marvel at this. Turns free and easy. We're on bushings, no bearings. You could cast this reel a very long way, no question. Let's put it into gear. You saw how that moves. It moves in and out like that. Put it into gear, give it a wind, nice and quiet. You have an adjuster on both sides of this to center the spool. Wow. 90 years later, a beautiful reel that can go fishing again tomorrow. Well, if you have any questions on this reel or any reel, just leave them in the comments section. I'll try and answer those for you. And, well, before I leave, I want to thank our first responders, our police, fire, safety, rescue, everybody involved in keeping us out of harm's way. I do appreciate everything it is that you do and your dedication to career and to task. I want to thank everybody for watching, and I wish you all a great day. This is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Wishing you fun on the water, good times fishing, and, well, some fun with fishing reel archaeology. Have a great day.